Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Press Talk Sports Live. I am Jeff Weisinger, your host. I am your host, Jeff Weisinger. That'll be a fun one to look back on. Joining me today, two just very amazing coaches that have done the Lord's work with Liberty softball over the last couple years. Brandi and Cindy Macias, thank you so much for joining us today. For joining me again today.
Yes, thanks for having us.
For those who don't remember, we had him on the pod last month.
Yes.
Last month, we had some audio issues. It was during our audio glitch era. So you guys are back for take two, pretty much, of the pod. How y'all doing?
We're doing great. Doing great. Happy to be here.
Appreciate you guys. Congrats on the win yesterday.
Thank you.
It felt like a vintage Liberty win.
It was a great
Yeah.
win.
Yes.
The girls played well.
I kind of want to start with that, like just the team so far. I know the record is 3-2. You know, it's crazy that it's only been like 5 games in, but your thoughts on just how this team's been so far? Because this is the same roster as last year, minus 3 seniors. But pretty much your overall is brand new. Like your thoughts on how the season's gone so far.
Well, they obviously played together for a little bit now, and they're competitors and they play for one another. And we were excited yesterday because we had a little bit of a break, and so they were just super eager to get back on the field and play together. So it was a great day.
Talk about just seeing another one of those comeback wins. I mean, it didn't need to happen, but
Right. Well, we have our moments, and like I've told you before, in our losses we tend to beat ourselves in those big innings. And so yesterday we've really tried to eliminate that. And so College Park, listen, they're competitors. They've been a quality team for many years. So we knew going in it wasn't going to be an easy game. But as I've said before, if we focus on just taking care of ourselves and doing what we're able to do, everything should work out.
The one thing I want to ask is, if you think about the 20-win season from last year, right? How much do you feel how much do you feel the target on the program's back now compared to when you first took over the job 2 years ago?
So in my third year, listen, when you win, people want to beat you. It is what it is. And, we are now being chased where before, I think there wasn't a lot of respect for the team, unfortunately, because the quality of players has always been there. But now when they are doing well, I mean, now we are the hunted ones, even though we are the lions.
So with that said, how do you handle being the hunted ones? Because this is kind of uncharted territory for the program. Uncharted territory for the first time in a long time.
Sure. The only way I can answer that is trying to prepare our girls through practice and, getting them confident in what they do every day and preparing them in game-like situations. So when we do enter the game, no matter who is across from us, we're consistent.
I've got asked earlier this week, you had the youth camp, which first off, the greatest welcome of all time. And I think for someone like me, the most awkward welcome of all time.
It was well deserved.
Appreciate it. First off, thank you just for that welcome. Just, it's not often you have kids screaming at you. Third year to camp, second year to camp.
Third year.
Third year to camp. This camp has grown. Like you guys keep selling out. It's almost like it for me. I compare it to trying to find the right pair of J's on when they drop, and I still can't. But just talk about seeing the camp grow, because I feel like there's so many layers to this outside of just it being a very good youth camp. Just what's it like?
Well, it's a testament to the players that we have working the camp. They're just great people. They're great humans. They're incredible athletes. And when we had our first year, the community wasn't sure what to expect. And so I think when they realized, how it's run and the quality of people that are running it, and it becomes that sisterhood that we've talked about in the past. That's an easy thing to want to be a part of. And so the growth is not surprising to me, just because of the people we have in our circle.
Cindy, what's it like from you?
And I think it was much needed, right? Mm-hmm. There wasn't a lot of, softball camps in the area for a long time for the younger youth, right? I mean, some people try to do it and maybe didn't stick as much. When your hometown school comes out and does, a youth camp like this, I think it's very enticing for people.
I think what's interesting with the camp is people don't realize how important. People don't realize how much of a staple Liberty is in the community here. right? I mean, it's Division high school, and we kind of know that, but it's not until you see stuff like this from the athletic side of it, especially, that you see how much of a staple Liberty as an institution is in the community. This has also been something that's been needed. I remember talking with some of the parents, kind of off record, last year. They were saying, and talking to you guys, talking to kids, and they were saying how amazing it is to have this again, to build the softball side of it. Because I mean, football has it, basketball definitely has it, but it wasn't. Baseball definitely has it with Lonnie, but it wasn't there for softball for a while. And you guys didn't just bring it back. You guys made it a staple, like off the bat, pun intended. You know, how special is it for y'all to kind of see the response you guys have gotten?
Well, it's definitely, a testament to the community and the support, and seeing the young first, second, third graders want to be a part of this beautiful sport, and to know that we have the community supporting us and wanting, to represent Liberty and represent what it needs to be. So, like I've told you before, it puts a smile on my face every single season that I go out there and I see the amount of kids and I see our older girls working with them, and how excited the youth is to be with them. So, it's been exciting for me.
I love that. My favorite part about it is watching our older girls work with them, because at one point they were that age, and
Right.
they were those kids that looked up to somebody older, right? And I think that's so important in the community, to have the elders giving back to the younger generation
Right.
coming in, because without that, the sport doesn't grow. So I think that's my favorite part. And the little ones walking in, they have favorite coaches already. They know their names already, so they're walking in asking if certain coaches are working, and for me, that's the most exciting part.
Can we talk about Kelsey signing autographs? Which I mean, it goes testament, like the kids look forward to seeing their favorite players, their favorite coaches, and such.
Yep.
Can we talk about Kelsey signing autographs? Because I was walking out and I saw that and I was just like, okay, like it's weird. I should be used to seeing players sign autographs, stuff like that. But it's like, I'm like, okay, at the high school level. But it's kind of cool, like that response of the kids won on the back of the shirt, on the back of the softball shirts,
And that's just a testament to the impact that these kids are making on the youth. They knew right off the bat. Kelsey brings a lot of energy.
Have
she
not
does it
noticed.
right. Yeah.
Seemed like a wallflower.
Yeah. And the kids love that. They love that. And she was excited just as well, because you're right. It's not a high school thing that you see very often. But
Right.
in these little kids' eyes, these girls are celebrities to them. They see themselves wanting to be in that position one day.
Oh, and I mean, Kelsey, as you know, she just constantly gives so much energy and love and passion for the game, and all the little ones feel it, and so it's not a surprise to me whatsoever. And I'd love to hear that.
With that said, I'm curious. Dizzy all 30 of this team, you've had pretty much the same, if not similar, roster throughout, because you had them all as freshmen.
Sure.
What's it like watching these girls grow throughout? When you think about the first year, kind of establishing that foundation that we've talked about in the past. Last year, obviously, was the year, right? And then going to this season. What's it been like watching them grow throughout all of this?
It's been fun. I don't think going into this job we had any expectations. You have certain things that you think about and things like that, but we weren't sure what we were walking into, and to see from day one till now how much the program has grown, and watch these athletes come out of their shell and be comfortable in the environment that they're in, has been awesome. I mean, they have grown night and day from freshman year till now.
Well, especially our juniors. I mean, we all came into the program together, not sure what to expect.
Yeah.
I always say we were all freshmen at one point, because we weren't sure. And I think we all adopted a culture that we wanted to bring, and that would give us the confidence needed going forth. I knew we had the talent. It was just, what did we want to do with that? What were we capable of doing with that? Were we going to be able to play as a team? And I think the group that we have, for sure, they came in wanting that. And so it has really just been building their confidence and them knowing what they're capable of doing and playing for each other. That's what I've loved about this whole thing.
You've had several seniors graduate from the program already. With this class, with your first team, how sad will it be to see them go when they graduate? And I say that, obviously, you want to see them move on and graduate, but because you have seen them grow. Coaching is very interesting, and I always, every time I cover teams here, I always reflect back to my coaching career, as short-lived as that was. To where, like, I remember seeing, when Logan came to play Heritage for the playoffs last year for football, the kid I started a quarterback my freshman year, he was a starting quarterback for Logan, and so seeing him grow and such, it was kind of cool. And granted, Logan lost, which I will breathe from, but seeing him grow, seeing the guys I coach as freshmen, play their final high school game and such like that, it was a weird, I don't want to call it like a parenting moment, but it felt like that in a sense. I'm just kind of curious, is that similar, especially with this team, considering you had them from pretty much from the very beginning?
I think it will be. I don't know that it's an unfamiliar territory for us
Right.
necessarily, just because we do coach travel and we've always been at the 18 level. So we're graduating kids every single year. Where high school's different is you only get the 4 years there.
Right.
Right. So we've had kids since they were 12 to 18. And it's always an emotional time, because it is the end of one chapter for most of them as they're seniors, right? And they get to hopefully start a new journey in college playing the sport. So not unfamiliar, but still each year is just as sad for all of them. Yeah.
Well, I mean, one senior we have currently that's been with the program since day one is Isabella Mercado.
Right.
I mean, and we've had the pleasure to see her since she was 10U, right? So you see this little one that reminds me of the campers coming in,
Right.
super excited, and just seeing the growth that she has, and in her representing Liberty softball for the last 4 years. And I mean, there's a lot of sweat that goes into it, a lot of hard work, a lot of, things that are missed. And so she's now a senior and she's our leader now. So, our underclassmen get to look up to, our seniors right now. And to me, seeing them graduate and, she's going on to Cal State East Bay. So, one chapter closes, but we get to share their second chapter and then hopefully for the rest of their lives. So for me, it's just a blessing to have, in my opinion, an extended family.
I heard Cal State East Bay. I guess Cal State Hayward. Cal State Hayward. It will forever be Cal State Hayward. But I'm curious because you've had her since, you said she was like 12.
Well, yeah, I had the pleasure to coach her when she was 12U, but I knew her even before that.
Okay.
And so to see her go through high school, and all the growth spurts along the way. You know what I mean? You start as an awkward little thing, playing this sport that is super demanding, to just a very confident, incredible athlete. So it's fun to watch.
What's it like watching her in that long of a journey? I mean, because a lot of players you get maybe like 4 years worth, and you're getting someone for 6, right? And you see them the beginning of the awkward phase all the way through. Because with high school, you're getting kids at a very unique time of life.
Sure.
Especially nowadays, even more so nowadays with like social media and such. But like, what's it like kind of watching someone for that extended period and seeing kind of more growth than you would like just regular?
I think we talk so much about coaching, but I mean, one of my favorite things about this whole process is mentoring and actually kind of being a shoulder or a counselor. And so when you talk about the awkward stages, and our sport is a lot of failure, and so is life, right? I mean, so, someone like, our seniors, they've struggled through class, family, softball, all those things. And so just being able to know we're there for them on every level and that they trust us and being able to come to us, that's a whole nother avenue that we, in my opinion, it's an honor to be able to be a part of their lives. So, like you said, going through the awkward phase to seeing them grow into their bodies and become athletes and then deal with the ins and outs of the sport in school. That's been a pleasure for both of us.
It's more than just softball for us.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the community sees that.
Good.
I want to think the community sees that. One person you got the chance to see grow much longer, your daughter Caitlin.
Sure.
Congratulations on Weber State.
Oh, thank you.
Well, we won't touch too much on the Columbia part. But what's it like it has to be different when watching your daughter go through this. 'Cause, I mean, it's not just watching someone game day or practice or whatever through school, but like really day in and day out, literally.
Yeah.
What's it been like watching her go through this? And now with the commitment to Weber State, and she's only a junior, so she kind of has college pretty much locked down.
Sure.
I mean,
Well, I mean, from an emotional standpoint, we talk about the young kid, right? She wasn't the most athletic, and we talk about it, and she knows this. She had kind of two left feet. She did, and so playing a sport that is difficult as softball is. I knew it was going to be hard for her, and she put in the work behind the scenes, and sometimes you can hear the talk about when she was younger not being the most athletic. So for me, it's been a prideful time as she's grown up and grew into her body and built this confidence. And, she kind of had a little bit of a chip on her shoulder, like, hey, I'm going to basically prove those that don't think I can do this wrong. But she did it in her own way. She was driven academically, and, that was the route she was focused on, but also loves the sport more than I ever loved it. And I love the sport, believe me. I mean, it's been everything to me, but, she loves it. And so for me to watch her grow into the person she is and an athlete, and she's killing it now, it has been such a joyful thing. And being able to coach her, I wouldn't have picked anything more special.
What are the car rides like going on? Oh, so she's driving now.
Yeah, she drives home most of the time, but
okay.
That was just recent.
Okay.
Good or bad days, it doesn't matter. I made it a conscious choice not to be that parent that harps on her. I mean, she's got to listen to our voice 24 hours a day. So I didn't want that. And I've checked in with her multiple times because I want her sometimes to hear a different voice. She hears me year round as from a coaching perspective. And so I made a conscious choice that when we get in the car, the first thing I'm going to ask her is, are you hungry? And it's always a yes. And where are we eating? Just so she can kind of clear it. And whether it's a good or a bad day, that's kind of the same conversation we have. And then I let her, make the decision on what she wants to talk about on the way home. But it's been a very healthy relationship because I check in with her and I'm like, hey, at any time, it will not hurt my feelings. And she's like, I wouldn't pick any other coaches. So it's pretty cool.
So so you were an All-American at Iowa.
Yeah. Long time ago.
Weber State.
Yeah.
So Iowa was not an option here. And I asked this kind of A, jokingly because it's me, but B, I asked this because I feel a lot of parents who do coach their kids, it's kind of I want you to follow the footsteps, so to say, right? Could be that sense of it. Was Iowa ever an option at this during her recruiting? If I may ask.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I obviously, that would be, a dream for me, but that was my dream, right?
Right.
We both made a very conscious choice that, she would take her own road and make her own decisions and lay the path for her. This isn't my path anymore. I'm a has-been, but I can help in the journey. We did take a trip to Iowa, and it was very emotional to see her on the same field that I was on when I played. But it wasn't her fit, and that's okay. And so, but it was cool. It was a cool journey. It was a cool time to go and get out there. But I've told her from day one, I wanted her to do what's best for her.
So like on the All-American wall, there was not that one blank space that was saved just for her.
I'll go write her name underneath it.
That'd be kind of cool part of recruiting. I see a lot of football, and I see it was funny. I see a lot of players' fathers kind of get involved in it, and I'm like, why are you here?
Right, exactly.
Like you can be in the background, cool, but like
right.
I've seen some like they're in it too, and I'm like, take it down a couple notches. But it's interesting because it's someone like in your position where you were like really at the peak of it. If you think about it, you've been to a College World Series, you were an All-American. I think when you go down the halls of Iowa athletics, they will scream the name of Brandi Macias. You hear the echoes of it, right? It's kind of cool to to have your kid, okay, but this is gonna be your journey. You don't have to follow what I did. This is where you want to go. So Columbia really wasn't it, huh?
I'll say academically.
I will say, as a New Yorker,
I know,
and as someone who went to school 10 blocks up from the place, I was like, listen, I'm kind of mad at Columbia for this, but it's also why no one likes the Ivies. I'm just saying, like.
Well, listen, she got in, so her foot was in the door. But she's just not a city kid, and right. I knew that, but I needed her to know that. Right. And her dream was to go to Ivy, and she's worked very hard. And I was a little bit bummed that it wasn't the what she had hoped it would be. But we got there and it just, you're a
it
city
was-
guy.
yes.
She's, I think, a more,
She's a small hometown
She's-
Brentwood
yeah.
girl.
I mean, you know her personality. She's
They
really
couldn't.
chill.
They could.
She's
They,
never been a flashy
they,
kid.
they couldn't
never.
bring her to Long Island one time. They're like, listen, it's not that. Look, this is just school. You can go here on weekends.
Exactly. Nope, we didn't get any of that. We got
Yeah.
straight New
Columbia,
York.
really?
That's okay.
Columbia fumbled that one.
It's a fantastic school.
There's also why no one likes Columbia.
It's a fantastic school.
But first off, getting in is like a feat in itself
Oh,
because
100%.
I like I tried to get into Columbia journalism. I think that was like the one school I didn't get into when I applied for my
It's
master's.
not easy.
Not easy.
It's not something I could have done.
No, I got a friend that went there, and I was like, the whole time he was there, I was like, how did you go here?
Right. Well, and I'll be honest, that's why I'm so proud of her. Is
Right.
she went to where she felt the most secure, and I think where she felt valued. In Columbia, believe me, they were amazing. They were amazing, and I want to reiterate that. But she just knew once she was in that city, the craze. You could tell her face was like panic, like whoa, this is just
I feel like it takes a special person.
super
to be there.
overwhelming for her, and she needs a more.
But she's more calm.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, Utah's mountains and
Right.
rural, and it's just a very different feel.
It's like Brentwood level 2.
It is. It is.
I've seen a couple cities like that where I would go around. I'm like, because when my wife and when Jazz and I lived in Texas, Fort Worth was kind of whatever, but
Okay.
we loved Frisco,
Okay.
and we didn't like Texas much in general. But we loved Frisco, and Frisco felt a lot like Brentwood.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like their
That's
main
what I
street,
hear. It's
their main street
a lot
felt a lot like Lone Tree.
really?
All the shot, just the way everything's laid out, the way
Okay.
everything's kind of spread out the way it is. I was like, this feels very much, I think Frisco is the first place we ran into other Filipino people in Texas because it wasn't happening. That wasn't happening in Fort Worth at all.
Right.
But it was just interesting. You mentioned finding that fit. Like,
Yeah.
I never thought I would fit here in Brentwood, just being from where I'm from. Like, I'm used to
Right.
everything going. I'm used to waking up and like throwing myself on the subway.
See.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That kind of
Right.
pacing. And then
Right.
here it's like I've learned how to slow down here to now it takes me like 3 hours to get up. Maybe like an hour to figure out what I want to order coffee wise
See?
on the app.
Right. I'm sure it's much healthier on your heart.
It's-
for sure.
You would think so.
Yeah, just a little bit.
But it's funny because like the pacing of New York, I think, is the biggest thing that's the hardest to adjust for people.
Oh,
Because I mean, I talked with Jazz about like what if we went back and she couldn't handle it, and I'm just like, you're gonna have to learn. Listen,
It definitely takes a
You know,
special
just-
person.
you know.
For sure.
You've had several girls this year, not just from Liberty, but also from your travel ball program, Universal, signed
Sure.
11. If I want to have it right, 11, 12.
All of my seniors and 3 juniors now.
8 seniors, 3 juniors.
It's 11.
Yeah.
What's it like kind of seeing that part of the success? Because that's a huge that's a huge thing, a huge feat in itself.
Well, it's
you know.
1%. 1% end up going on to play after high school. And, it's a testament to their hard work. It's a testament to their passion. It's not just softball. They have to work their tails off academically and manage their time. And, they miss out on a lot of things, but they're doing what they love. And so to be able to be a part of that accomplishment, which is a lifelong dream for these guys, you see that our campers are already talking about what colleges do they want to go to. So to see them, pick the schools that they want to go to. I mean, I had several girls that had several options, and the thing I preached is I want to make sure you're valued and you feel valued because you deserve that. And, it's a home away from home because it's 4 of the best years I had, of my life. So I know how important those years are for them, and they all chose to do that. So I'm very, very proud of them.
I think one of your girls that I think recently signed that plays at SRV actually, Sophie Jin.
Yes.
Yes.
So I got a chance to see her for the first time I covered Freedom's playoff run at SRV 2 years ago, and she was like this tiny little freshman, just kind of flying around the bases.
Fine. That's a good word.
And now
Right.
she's a senior, junior.
She's
senior.
senior.
She's senior. Now as a senior, flying around the bases even smoother. What's it like when you see your travel ball players, especially when you play against them? What's it like kind of watching them go through the process? And then at the same time, what's it like playing against them? Because when I was at Liberty SRV, I was just like, back in my mind, I'm just like, okay, we're beaming this one. Just let her know we're there.
Sophie's a hard one not to love. I mean, I saw her before the game, and I try to not look at them because I'm like, you are our opponent
She
right
said,
now.
"Don't talk to her.
Don't talk to Sophie. Don't look at her. But I love her to death. So, I mean, it's hard not to love her. But the best word I can say is it's so much fun. It's been fun because we really do try to, pick the schools, because most of the time they're really quality schools that will make us better as a program. But then it gives us an opportunity to see our girls on the field,
Right.
not being coached by us, and see how they respond to that. So it's been a lot of fun. But they're not our teammate when we play
Right.
against them.
It's hard because you want them to do well, but you don't want them to do well.
They do well, except an hour matchup.
Except an
Right,
hour match,
right,
yes.
right.
And then when they're not doing well, my heart wrenches a little bit. But then I'm like, it's a very emotional.
See, you're nicer than I am, because
I
for
know,
me,
I
I'd be
know.
like, well, if I was coaching you, you know.
SRV's doing really well. So,
But it is proud moments to see our girls, because we've had Sophie for a really long time as well. It's those proud moments of seeing them perform so well against other teams and in high school, and knowing that we get the opportunity to be with them as well. So I think for me that's cool too, because when you're watching her, she's one of the funnest players to watch. I mean, she's a triple threat.
I agree.
She's
No,
so
I will tell you
passionate,
that.
so much passion.
And she
Yeah.
has a smile on her face
Yeah.
all the time.
I told my dad about her after that first Freedom SRV playoff matchup. I'm like, they got this one shortstop. I was like, Dad, this girl's like maybe 6 inches tall, but oh my God, her vein.
Well,
But just seeing her grow. But I remember, when I went last year to watch Freedom SRV and the playoff opener, and seeing the developments, and obviously a couple weeks ago when for y'all's matchup at SRV, it's always at SRV for whatever reason. And that parking, I just can't get over that. But being able to see that and seeing her growth and whether she's just the way it's. You get excited to watch her at the next level.
100%.
Just
And
the
that
way
was
she
the
hits it.
compliment I heard through her whole recruiting process from college coaches across the board is how much fun she is to watch. And
Really
it's a
is
pleasure
fun as
for
well.
us to coach, because she's a student of the game.
Right.
And any small adjustment, I'm not kidding you, that kid goes home, works it, perfects it, and gets back in. So her success is not just because it came to her. That kid
Right.
works her tail off. So
No, you
proud of her.
could see that.
Oh,
It's
for
so
sure.
cool. Like I remember like every time she would come, because I remember like this small girl went 57. I'm like, of all numbers. I'm like the jersey's bigger than you. What are we
Right.
doing? And
Right.
just seeing the girl, it's so cool. That's kind of one of the beauties of high school sports is like, especially when you watch the players like coming up. I remember like with us with Liberty football watching Jackson Bell, like we saw him since his sophomore year,
Yeah.
and now I see him kind of go through the process. Not that we're surprised because of his family, but seeing him, kind of grow and do all this, when I was coaching, see my freshmen become seniors, which
Right.
made me realize how old I am. I think it's one of the coolest things, honestly. It's I've been telling people lately, like, it's covering high school is it's very unique in its own sense compared to the pro game, especially compared to even the college game.
Absolutely.
That matter.
Absolutely.
With that said, since we're talking about recruiting, what's it like dealing with the process now, considering NIL, considering it is more investment, especially in softball, because there's a lot more investment now. What's it like kind of going through the process now compared to maybe 5-10 years ago, especially and even when you played?
Well, it's an exciting time for female sports all the way around, because they have so many more opportunities after college, or even being paid through college. I mean, those are the elite of the elites. That's the great news. The hardship is, the mid-major schools being, in my opinion, impacted by maybe the power schools, because that's where most of the money is generated. So a lot of the athletes are going to try to go powers versus, impacting your schools at the mids and in the smaller level schools. So that's my only little bit of a worry, going into the money-driven type programs. But it's also a celebration, because it's something that we didn't have an opportunity to have, and now we do. And you're seeing, Nyjah Canada being paid over $1 million
Yep.
for 1 year. I mean, that's unheard of, right? I
Right.
mean, so a lot of celebrations along the way, a lot of opportunities for our female sport, athletes. But it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with the other programs.
Do you feel it kind of brings it too much into that, what NIL can bring it too much into that professional realm, so to say? I mean, it's it's different in the sense you're not getting the weekly checks on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, but like you're essentially getting paid to play. It's no longer okay, you're getting a free education, the under the table money, which is like the worst kept secret in college sports in general. Do you feel as if like, okay, well, this school is offering me this much? It almost becomes like free agency.
Sure does.
In a sense. Do you feel it kind of ruins the game. It kind of ruins college sports in general. In your
Well,
opinion?
I don't know if it ruins it. What I do know is the only thing I know is playing as a team and all really feeling equal valued and being able, I've always was taught that you're only as good as your weakest player, and that means let's get them as strong as everybody else. Where now this might create a little more individual, right? Like, hey, I'm getting paid this, so I'm more. It things do change, and
Right.
so business to this game changes things. It's not my favorite part, but I also want to celebrate those that have earned that opportunity. So it's a tough one for me to answer. Do you have a different perspective?
No, I agree. It's tough. I mean, it is a blessing, but it's a curse at the same time, for sure.
So if Kayla were to be like, I'm hopping to the transfer portal.
So we're huge on commitment. It's not my favorite thing either.
But that has also been but with that said, that part is also kind of. With that said, that also has kind of become part of the curse part of it, of NIL and everything. When transfer portal has just opened up to where I think the NCAA now, like the 2 years of junior college ball, don't count against you, don't count against the clock, which I think has affected college coaches.
Sure.
Sport pending, if I can say for basketball, like Division I basketball teams are not recruiting high school kids unless you were that kid,
Wow.
right?
Wow.
I don't know from a baseball softball standpoint, but does that kind of change? Do you feel as if the transfer portal and the fact that the JUCO clock doesn't affect your clock anymore, do you feel as if that kind of does or will change recruiting going forward? And how do you kind of have that conversation with your players? Because we mentioned at the youth camp a lot of younger girls. I remember there's one girl in a Cal sweater, go Bears. There's one girl in a St. Mary's sweater, God bless. There's one in Arizona, but these are like 8, 10, 11-year-olds. They knew it, and this is what they want to go play college, right?
Yeah, sure.
Was the way the college game for all sports in general is changing. Does that change the conversation to, okay, maybe go to an LMC for 2 years, maybe go to an Aloni or whatever the case, maybe you go to junior college? Does that kind of change the conversation as far as all that goes? Do you feel?
I think it depends on what they want to do after college. In that realm, in that opportunity, you get 6 years to get your undergrad and possibly a master's degree.
Right.
As soon as you're done, then you can go into career, right? Versus getting your 4 years, and those that want to continue on with their education, they got to go back to school. So, that just happened. So it's going to be really interesting to see. It opens it up to all the the junior colleges. I think they're going to get a lot more talented players if that's the route they want to go. Listen, everybody's journey is different. So it's going to be very, very different to see what ends up happening in that realm.
You guys have any signing day anytime soon? I thought about this as talking about college. I know you have a couple of girls from on the roster right now that
sure.
With our child, with
Liberty.
With Liberty, yeah. So they do still do it. As you know, everything now is digital. So signing day was typically put a paper in front of you and you get to sign in front of everybody and your loved ones.
Now it's check box, hit submit.
Boxes, and then hit
it's
submit.
got to be paper
It'll be
still.
a celebration day. That's really what they
so
deserve.
we're a commitment day, celebration day. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll still do that.
Everything being digital, it kind of ruins it, honestly. It makes
me realize how old I am because I'm like everything's going that way.
I'm not that far behind, trust me. But it's interesting. I remember I've covered a few, and I would see them kind of sign. I don't know if it went all digital like that because they would sign some form.
Usually mocks.
Right.
Yeah, usually mocks because you take time to read over it with your family and stuff, and you usually sign it at home with your family.
I'm saying that to every lawyer possible. Just make sure this is all good to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm curious. I was thinking about this the other day when you guys have been here for 3 years now. What made y'all want to what made y'all want to come to Liberty? And I said I'd never asked you guys. I kind of been thinking about it. So, hey, he was a program that was really basement, kind of, it had a lot of its own drama, which we went over last year. What made y'all want to take this? What made you want to take this job? What made you want to?
Well, listen, coaching high school is not easy for any coach that has done it. We applaud them.
Right.
So, if it's a dedication unlike any other. But we had been asked for many years to coach high school, and there were coaches that were at Liberty, and obviously Ron's been at Heritage for a long time, and then Freedom had their coaches, so there really wasn't much opportunity. I had reached out a couple times and just wanting to volunteer my time, it just didn't work out. And so finally when there was an opening, I'm like, it looked like Caitlin came in as a freshman year. the coach was no longer at Liberty. It just was an incredible opportunity for us to say, hey, let's try to go impact a program. However,
The timing of it.
The timing was,
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing, right? So I was like, I still continue to be able to coach. But I personally have always wondered, you hear all these stories about coaching high school, and I thought it would be a different challenge for us because, you get all different types of talent levels coming in, and how can we impact them the best we can and teach and motivate and all those things that, we do it for. So the opportunity was there, and so we put in for it, and it's been, in my opinion, one of the best things we've done from a coaching perspective.
I think on the application, when I see All-American, it's an immediate, like, we're going to bring this person in. Like, come on.
She definitely has a lot of knowledge to give, and that was the ultimate goal, was to just give back what was given to her and to us. And I think that, it happened to be Liberty, which was amazing. I mean, this is the town we raised our kids in, so, and the school that our kids are, going to. So for us, when the opportunity arose, it was definitely a conversation because high school is a different realm.
Right.
But thus far, it's been a great opportunity for us. The journey has been amazing. We've had so much support within the community and within the administration. Ava Huckabee has been one of our number one supporters. So thankful to all of them.
Did you remind him that he can't miss the game now?
We did.
Okay.
Directly after the game last night.
I
We told him he's never allowed to not show up.
I didn't know he was standing out there till you pointed him out, like, afterwards.
It's a whole game.
And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know why you can't just sit with everyone, but
Well, I'm sure he's constant, right? He's the principal,
Yeah.
so it's
Right.
a constant for him. So
Oh,
it was probably
I
his
totally
little
get that.
zen to
I
get
totally
out
get
there
Yes, for sure.
and just watch. And
hang out.
he loves all sports, but there's times he definitely wants to get out there.
will he
That's
throw the
best.
first pitch out again, and will you teach him how to throw the first pitch out? Because I still think about that first pitch, and granted, like, I've seen worse. His is kind of down there.
I say
And I know.
let's keep the memories going.
Yeah.
With that type of pitch. Will
It's all
he?
about creating
But that was-
memories.
But that was so cool seeing. I remember, like, 'cause I didn't know that was happening until I got to the ball, till I got to the field last year, where he's gonna throw the first pitch. I'm like, okay, this should go well, and it pretty much went as I expected.
Yeah.
But just having a principal that supportive,
Oh
right?
my gosh.
When you think of high school sports, and you think, the support level usually goes like football. I mean, not talking about it, but football is usually like
No, it's
the king,
true.
and this is
Sure.
even in Iowa,
Everywhere, yeah.
even though I
Everywhere.
It's a
right?
much bigger sport.
Well, it
Softball
brings
seems
in-
to be softball usually gets buried in there for it's set of reasons. To see a principal come out there, support you guys from all the way to the nosebleeds, throwing first pitch, the way he's been supporting the program, how big is that for y'all?
It's huge. I mean, again, to have administration support like that, it speaks volumes. It speaks volumes of the type of person he is as well.
It makes me want to be as prideful as I can in, representing the program because of the support and how excited the community is for this team. And so, we're just trying to do the best we can day in and day out, whether it's keeping up the field and making it, a proud thing to be on every day, to making sure our athletes feel valued, to, the community supporting us. So, but for him, there hasn't been a moment that he hasn't shown support.
Yeah, the field part, I kind of learned not to go near the circle. I saw you go, if you go in the circle, and I was like, oh, this is happening.
I have a little OCD. I apologize.
Yeah. We spend countless hours out there, though, making sure that field. I mean, the maintenance of high school fields and things like that is very hard to come by. So a lot of the times it's the coaches doing things. So we pretty much groom and prep that field for every game, every practice, everything that's out there. It's us.
Y'all really made that to a kind of like a gem, so to say. I mean, when I first got here, and this was y'all first year, 23 was you guys' first year, right? And I'd walk past it, probably going to the baseball field, whatever. And this is like my first year, so I'm trying to navigate where I am. And I was like, okay, cool, softball field. I didn't really notice like just the shape it's in until like obviously started covering the team a lot more in depth. And you guys do a good job. I'll be honest, it's actually really. I'm waiting for the lights.
I know. Everybody keeps telling us that.
They're expensive, Jeff.
I've heard.
If anybody wants to donate,
Yeah.
we would be so
I was at Heritage Arroyo, and it went extra innings for no reason, and it started getting dark. And so I was with Al, who does like all the maintenance around the district. And so I was just like, I don't know what we're gonna do. I'm like, okay, so we can get all the headlights from the cars because we're at how Heritage set up. You have like the parking lot right there. hit all the car headlights, and then Al just busts out his flashlight. So I took out my iPhone light. I'm like, all right, we're good. We got this.
Yeah, it gets tough right around that 7.
Right.
Well, before the time change.
Yeah.
It gets a
So
little
now we have enough time to get the 12-inning games on. And,
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Now
the
it
lights
should
would
be
be
fine.
amazing because then it would give us to push back the games a little bit, and
Right.
people at work can get there.
night games would be awesome.
Yeah,
Honestly,
that'd be fun.
It's definitely something we've talked about. And for the athletes, too, being able to push games a little further back gives them the opportunity to stay in class longer.
Right.
So when you're chasing that sunlight, you got to get out of
Right.
school early, right? And then
Right.
you're missing classes and then schoolwork. And so it becomes a time management issue for these athletes to play, but also make sure their academics are high because we
Right.
have very high expectations for their academics.
we'll say like at Logan we had lights
I know.
and
Yeah.
we have no money.
Yeah.
Which makes it all like when I was there, even like we had
Right.
less money
Right.
Yeah.
and we had lights. And I was like, okay, this is normal. And I come here and I'm
Oh.
just like,
I know.
I'm like looking around. I'm like, how do y'all see?
Well,
You know?
I'm so blessed for our field.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
you see, they put turf in. It's absolutely beautiful. So no complaints here. But that would
Right.
be a highlight.
I feel like it would just totally just take for baseball and softball for that matter, right?
Sure.
Yes.
It will take both of those sports here up to just a whole other level. I mean, Al told me why they wouldn't be lights, so I kind of just field use and I get it,
Okay.
but when you think about what it could do for the high school game, what it could do,
Sure.
and how it could just elevate everything, not just like the look for the players, like a night game.
Yeah.
I mean,
It'd
Yeah.
be fun.
Well, it's like
You know.
Friday Night Lights, right?
Right,
Football,
exactly,
Football
right.
under the lights,
Right.
right? So
high
same
school,
kind of
high school games
concept.
should be in the evening. It should not be. I mean, I don't mind personally. Y'all playing at 4:00. I don't mind. I get home early.
Yeah.
When I only have one game, I get home early.
Right.
But I think it would be kind of cool to have like a baseball night, especially like a playoff game.
Yeah.
Just the atmosphere of it.
Sure.
You get more the audience, the crowd in, the
Yeah.
students and all that
There
kind
are
of
people that
stuff.
are trying to get out of
Yeah.
work,
Right.
right? Some people work till 5, and so they miss the game.
Right.
So yeah, it would be neat on all levels.
So the idea would be just tell everyone to park around the stadium
Yeah.
Turn your lights on.
and turn the lights up. Like we did this in New York. I know back in the days they did this with the old like rough touch football leagues.
Sure.
Where they didn't, where no one had lights, so it was just like
Right.
all the cars lined up and everyone's lights on
That's
until their
fun.
batteries died.
Yeah.
There's opportunities. There's opportunities. What are your thoughts on the growth of the program with that? So like when you look back and we take a step back and look back at like everything you've done in these last 2.5, 3 years now, when you see how much the program has kind of come, what do you think?
Listen, we've been blessed, and I say it a million times, with just great kids. And so you have kids like Kate Skinner that has so much passion. I mean, she makes me excited to get on the field and just be her coach. You have Bella Rice. I mean, you have all these kids that have love and desire to be a part of this program, and they've made us want to just continue to get out there day in and day out and grind and to build this program. So you get players that we've been blessed to have year after year, and I've heard great kids are coming in behind them. I mean, what more could you ask for? So the future of this program is limitless. The immediate future right now, I think, is going to be super exciting. We have a little bit of a break, but we cannot wait to play Castro Valley on the 1st. So I just think looking at the players and what's ahead and what's behind us, it doesn't get any better than that.
How do you all deal with the long breaks? I asked you this yesterday, but before yesterday's game against
College
College Park, thank you, I was blanking.
That's okay.
Before yesterday's game, it was an 11-day break because he was supposed to have Berkeley before that, and it was like a week
Monte
off,
Vista.
and
And then
then
Monte Vista, yeah,
And
both
Monte Vista.
canceled due to the rain, yeah.
so how do you and then now you have another 11-day break before the 12-day break before the Castro Valley matchup. How do you balance that? Because so baseball and softball are very interesting because the players specifically, and you notice, very much choose to routine.
100%.
Superstitious,
Sure.
everything has to be a certain specific way.
Sure.
You have to have all that kind of stuff. When you get thrown out of whack in that kind of regard, where it's like, okay, we'll playing tomorrow would be a different story, right? Okay, all the games canceled today, we'll play tomorrow.
Right.
When you extend the break like that, how do you adjust to that?
Well, in my opinion, like I told you yesterday, we're going to be fresh. We're going to be eager. We're going to be excited. Where when we're playing, every other day, we're tired, we're sore. We're running through the grime of all of this. So, in my opinion, we're going to be fresh as we were yesterday. They were super excited to be on the field. But the way we manage it is we scrimmage ourselves. I mean, we're, in my opinion, a quality team. And so if we're facing Kate and Caitlin during practice, that's preparing us to face our whatever opponent that we do face. And so our hitters are getting quality, at bats, and then vice versa. So, we just put us through some more scrimmage type situations between ourselves.
And when we look good, we feel good after yesterday, right?
Yes,
Did you see our new
I do have to ask you. I do have to ask you the jerseys. I like the pinstripe edition.
I'm not gonna lie.
I like the
wasn't-
pinstripe edition.
They're not our favorite.
No,
However,
really?
they are now.
They are now.
I'm not a big, because I'm old. I'm not a big pinstripe fan. I don't know. I just like a different dynamic. But
Yeah, I will tell you this as a Yankee.
I know. That's probably what, right there. Right there.
Me, I was just like, I'm
Yeah.
represented, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But the girls love them.
Oh, I love them.
They look great,
when
honestly.
they came out, I was like, oh, you guys look good. I'm on board.
I think I
And
did.
so thankful for all of our donors because they've been wanting, these uniforms, and obviously without community support, that's not something that we can provide them. And so after last year's run, that's all they've been asking for. We want pinstripe. We're like, okay, like how are we going to do this? Because they're expensive, right? And so we were able to get on to our fundraising and get the community support and got them their uniforms. So they felt good in them.
They look, no, they look, I did triple take. I was like, pinstripes. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
With the
they
Liberty
look
across, it was actually
Yeah.
pretty clean.
Yeah,
The
they
way
look
the way it
nice.
all came out was really,
Yeah.
really clean.
Glove did a
It
really
was
good
great-
job at
great
designing
designing.
those.
Thank
Honestly.
you. Thank
I've
you.
seen a lot of softball uniforms, and
Oh,
that's up there.
Oh,
honestly.
good.
you.
Thank you. You have seen a lot of softball uniforms, but the girls.
I weirdly
represent
have seen
them
a lot of
well.
softball uniforms. I will say it's not something I expected. Like
Right.
especially when I came, I'm like, oh, okay, and then
Yeah,
seen a lot of softball. I did not expect to cover a lot of softball. And now,
Well,
here we are.
we're thankful for you, Jeff.
Appreciate it.
You really do support us.
Appreciate
and You're
it.
one of those supporters, so you deserve a big thank you.
So when do we get the alternate all reds now? Is I'm curious.
Oh, I don't think they want that because they feel like they look like tomatoes. The all reds.
Oh, no,
we do the white with the cardinal. We do the white with the cardinal.
I've seen that. That's
That's
good.
nice, right?
Yes.
So we'll probably stick with that, and then we have our darks. But I think the two you'll see mostly is this.
I think for the Heritage Series, you need to have the all reds. I would love it if we had you guys in all red, Heritage and all blue,
Okay.
like
yeah.
like UCLA USC type thing.
Okay.
Oh, it'd be so good.
We can work on that. We'll work on that.
But those came out. What, if I may ask, like what sparked the idea to get New Jerseys?
The
Or was it
girls,
just one of those things you just wanted?
They've been doing really well, and we do a lot of fundraising, and so we accomplished our goal this year of what we needed to get them new uniforms. I mean, last year as we were, winning game after game, that's all they asked for is, hey, any chance we can get pinstripes, and we had just gotten the new whites and cardinal. And I'm like, we just got you guys new uniforms, but that's what they strived for, and so we all work together to work on the fundraising, and they accomplish that. So
You give them goals and they obtain them.
yeah,
I'll tell
and
you
they're
that.
doing it. I'm scared to ask them what the next thing.
I
they
know.
want.
I'm telling you, all reds. I'm telling you. It may look like a gang fight, but
Oh boy! Oh boy!
I'm just saying, 'cause like one, I would watch like a lot of college baseball and seeing like how just the various uniform combos in the Division I game. I'm just like, this is how creative it kind of gets. It's actually kind of cool
can.
seeing uniform creativity come towards like baseball, softball now,
Yeah.
because for a while, like the sport was so traditional,
Yes.
Yeah.
right? It was your home whites, your
Yes.
road grays,
Yes.
no matter where you went. And now,
Right.
as the game's kind of evolved and gotten more trying to reach the younger crowd,
Yeah.
you've seen, I mean, even Major League Baseball, I've seen
Right.
different stuff. College
Yeah.
softball, college baseball, softball, I've seen a lot of
Yeah.
different stuff. It's cool seeing that idea come to the high school game. But also the jackets. Those were clean.
Oh yeah, those are nice.
Yeah.
I mean, they were simple, but they were clean.
Yeah, simple, but Glove designed those for us as well.
Okay.
And they did a really good job on them.
Great quality.
great
They
quality,
look
yeah.
great. The girls love them. I mean, and they deserve them. So,
Right.
for a high school program, a lot of times you're not able to provide that to them. But again, the community support has been amazing. And so we've been able to, get them some great things. And they feel really, really blessed to represent it.
They
They're
looked
appreciated, yeah.
they looked really good.
Thank you.
Those came out really,
Yeah,
really
they
well.
look good.
I was really impressed. I was
Thank
like,
I agree.
I was speechless.
I agree.
I was really speechless seeing it. That was kind of cool. The rest of the season, I want to ask you guys, going in, when you start league play in 3 weeks, 15th.
15th.
Is it against Deer Valley when you guys open?
Gosh,
Is it?
I'm worried about our next game.
No.
Who is it?
I think you're right.
It's DV,
It
right?
might be.
I think so.
It
Let
might
me ask
be.
you guys. I know you would. I know Castor Valley is obviously the focus, but going to the league, you kind of have the win streak now. I'm curious when you look at your non-conference schedule because the opponents are a lot more. It isn't to knock anyone else in the league, but they are a lot more higher quality compared to the B-Val, right? When you think about SRV, you think about College Park. That was a semifinal rematch from last year, right? Tracy was really good. Granada, Castor Valley coming up. Castor Valley's been really good this year.
Yep.
When you think about going from non-conference to conference play, when you know the conference play is not, I'm not saying it's bad, but it's not really at the same level. How do you kind of manage that? Because, I mean, we can go back to the Deer Valley series last year. That was 59-1, 59-0, 59-1. And it's not to say, and this isn't to say like, oh, the B-Val's weak by any means, because obviously
Right.
Freedom and Heritage are right there, right? But how do you kind of manage that? Because you go from like a tough non-conference schedule to respectfully a fairly mediocre league schedule, and then to take that into playoffs. How do you kind of how do you kind of manage that?
I think we learn from every game that we play. So every pitch that we're thrown, every ground ball we're hit, there's something to be learned. And I think that's what we teach our girls is regardless of what competition we're facing, you can learn something. You can break something down and learn from it. So
And listen, I don't care what anybody says, but any team can beat you.
Yep, on any given day.
So, the teams that roll in and just think they have a win before they step on the field are usually the ones that get bit in the butt, and I'm just being honest.
So College Park?
Well, yeah, I mean, exactly. So I really teach these girls to respect every opponent that's across from them, not fear them, respect them. And in my opinion, I scheduled what I thought would make us, the most prepared for a league by our non-conference schedule. And I wanted to play the best of the best as we did so we could be prepared for obviously league and then obviously, playoffs. And so we're going to continue respecting each team that we play. But listen, within our league, we have some quality teams. I mean, obviously Freedom's always very strong. Heritage is always
right.
very strong. You have Pitt in there and Antioch, they come in also swinging. So, I don't think there's anybody in there that, we don't respect and we're not going to prepare to our best to play.
And it changes every year, right? So you never know what everybody else has.
Sure.
So.
With that said, considering you guys going 10-0 in league last year, is there a sense of, okay, we want to kind of keep this going?
Well,
Especially when they're kids. Right.
Nobody wants to lose, Jeff.
No, I mean, listen, we all
Listen,
teams.
as a Giants fan, the way the draft kind of works, we're just like, maybe we drop these last 7 games in a row,
Well, the girls work hard day in and day out, as all teams, I'm sure, are doing. And so, our goal is to win. And, we're going to put the pedal to the metal and play to the best of our abilities and not let up. That's just what we're going to do. So, however that takes us, again, we're going to focus on one game at a time. And, obviously our end-all goal is to get into playoffs and do well there. But, we got to take one game at a time.
How much pride do you feel as if was restored with last year's success going into this season? And I say that because, I like coming off the Winter Sports and covering boys basketball team at Liberty, right? Knowing Coach Hines, if they lost a league game, you would see him driving the opposite way on Highway 4. And that's just the competitor he is. He will not want to lose a league game. I think they've won like almost 40 straight at this point.
Wow.
So I'm curious, like if the success from last year kind of sparks something, at least in the league, where it goes, okay, we're not losing a league game. If there is that sense, because not sense, well, every team, any given day, and true, like any given game, any given day, but is there a sense of you're going as like, do you go into league harder in that kind of situation compared, not compared to non-conference, but do you go into it harder because we're not losing, we have the streak now, we're not losing it? Is there that sense of that level of competition, so to say?
Well, listen, if we prepare non-league against the teams we're facing and we're doing well, league will take care of itself.
Right.
I'm just being honest. That's all I have to say.
So for league play, I'm taking the over for rent sport. I have rent to pay, okay? Like,
Listen, our offensive lineup is incredible. I told you before, there's not a kid that gets in that box that can't do damage. And so at any given day, the fireworks go off on this team, and hitting is very contagious. And so as far as league goes, if our hitters do what I know they can do, we're gonna be fine.
So y'all a safe bet to take pretty much. I got stuff on my bets and make sure you know.
I'm not a gambling person because I don't like to lose money. But,
same. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
But I would bet on us.
You mentioned the lineup. I want to talk about the team a little bit. This team feels a little bit different from last year. Granted, it's pretty much the same roster 95% of the way. But I feel as if the pitching's a lot more solid compared to the powered line. I'm not saying the powered line's not there. But last year, the line was scoring 8, 9, 10 runs a game. And a lot of that was when you were down 8, 9, 10 runs. The pitching feels a lot more mature, I guess, if that makes sense. Your thoughts, it seems like a shift.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on that?
I would say Kate is probably the most confident she's been, and she deserves to have that feeling. Caitlin, too, she's coming in as a junior, and, they complement each other in so many ways. And Kate's just a competitor. She's a beast out there. She wants to be out there. And the only thing we need to continue to work on is continuing to have that confidence when someone does get a hit or, she hits a batter or anything like that. I don't want her to feel like she has to be perfect. And so with a offensive lineup that we have, she's learned to trust that. She can make mistakes. She can get hit. It's okay. We're going to come in and take care of her on the other end. And with Caitlin coming in right now on the back end with Kate, she's confident in just getting ground balls for her defense because the defense just taking care of business right now. So super mature. They're upperclassmen now. They wear Liberty with pride. There's no question that they're proud to represent the school that they have. And so, I wouldn't want to face those two for sure.
What's like when you have two pitchers that can go back to back like that? That go back, especially one being lefty, one being the righty. The matchup. It's almost a coach's dream, I would think.
That's probably the best way you can describe that is they work so well together and support each other that it is a coach's dream. They're very different, which makes it that much better on all levels. So I just know if one's getting tired or one's just off that day, the other one's going to take care of business. So we're in a good place. And
then the lineup. We kind of know what we're getting overall, but I think the biggest surprise is we're talking about Caitlin. Her at the plate, she's been a lot leading the team in home runs. Isabella is leading the team in clutch home runs.
Yeah, we changed Caitlin's swing a little bit about 6 months ago.
Was that what we did?
Yeah, it's the truth. We worked on something a little bit different, and she was pulling a lot, and now it's allowing her to spray the field with so much more power. So and so she's got some confidence going into the plate, and if you look at her, she's fun to watch too because she just wants to hit now.
The power has been the most noticeable, I think.
For sure.
I watching her last year, you knew she could hit and come with some clutch hits, but just like. Really just seeing her just hit bombs. It's and almost routinely.
Right.
Really.
She almost hit 3 yesterday. She got one right off the... Yeah, so... I just watching her, you can tell she was super sick yesterday. A lot of people don't know that, but the poor kid, she probably shouldn't have been on the field. But, she just wanted to be out there with her teammates and swing the bat. And her along with Bella and, Kelsey Skaggs and, Kate even hits them out at practice like routinely. There's just so much power. And I know we're not scoring as many runs as we did last year, but if you look at how many people we're leaving on base, we're getting on. We're just not getting those timely hits. So, and that's something we need to work on, and that's just a mental thing. I think sometimes we're trying to do too much versus just put the ball in play and letting our power take care of itself.
Are you surprised with who you get the power from? Because last year it was Jewel leading the way as a freshman. I think everyone was kind of waiting for a repeat of that and kind of see where that went.
Yeah.
But now you're getting it again from Caitlin. You're getting it from Kelsey. You're getting it from Isabella.
Right.
Are you in ways just instead of it being like one or two people, now it's kind of spreading out? Are you kind of surprised the way it's kind of gone so far this year?
I think that's the beauty of this sport. So when one's down, you have 8 others in a lineup that are going to be able to pick you up, and we're fortunate enough to have that. And I think where Kelsey and Caitlin and Bella Rice are concerned, the power was always in there. And I think that, as you talked about earlier, watching them grow. So, yeah, they were high school athletes, played at a very high level. Now we're becoming women, right? And so now we're getting stronger, we're getting bigger, we're maturing mentally. And I think you're seeing all those things kind of come together for them. So it's always been in there. But I think that's the beauty again of the sport is when one's down, somebody else in that lineup's going to pick them up.
Yeah, I love that. But if you look at the amount of runs we scored last year, I mean, the power's been there. The power's been there.
Right,
I
right.
just don't think we left as many on as we are right now. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I counted yesterday. We were in the third inning and we'd already left 6 on.
Right.
And that's a lot of runners. That one hit makes it a
lot of
difference.
missed opportunities.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so I think when we go back to the drawing board the next week before we play on the first, we're just going to put them through more situational play.
Is that how you fix that, so to say? Just kind of just addressing more situations. Okay, we got runners in scoring position. We got runners second and third. We got runners in the corners. Like, where are we going here? We got to how do we?
Well,
Is getting familiar with that situation?
Well, practice to me is working to prepare for a game, and then games to me are you should be playing, right? That should be the fun part. But as a coach, I learned so much during gameplay, and so I take a lot of notes on what we're gonna, work on that following week. So we don't repeat those things, or maybe we could work on things that just we're not doing in those moments. So exactly what you said. It's my itinerary during gameplay,
Right.
what we're going to prepare for during practice to get us better for the following
And it is
game.
the situations.
Right.
It is, the scrimmaging each other, putting runners out there, understanding what we need to do when we're at the plate with
Right.
runners at certain bases. Definitely all situational play that we'll work on.
I always wondered how that gets fixed, so to say, especially in a sport like this where it's technically a game of failure.
Oh,
I
sure.
mean, when I was at Lonnie, the great Paul Moore taught us that like you're gonna this sport's a game of failure.
Sure.
You're gonna succeed 3 out of 10 times, and
Sure.
you're considered one of the best.
Yep,
Absolutely.
you'll fail more times than you succeed
Right.
in this sport for sure.
It's just the familiarity
Yeah,
and
softball
Yeah,
101,
seeing it.
understanding the game. Yep.
And we work on recovery so much. I mean, if you hold on to that failure, which some of our younger kids do. I mean, they just hang on to them. And Joel Cooper is someone I'd like to talk about regarding that because last year she had hang on to those failures, believe it or not. You
Right.
wouldn't know that about her, but she was so hard on herself. And this year she's really had to let it go. She came in with a lot of pressure, a lot of eyes on her with these huge expectations. And again, I think sometimes you try to do a little too much because you're looking at what you should be versus what you are today. Her time will come, but
Right.
my point is all these times of working through these situations and recovering as soon as possible and staying in the now is what's going to keep us successful.
What is, if I may ask, what is her? I don't say ceiling, but how much better can she get? I mean, really, she exploded onto that scene, literally.
Are you talking about
Joel? Last year. I mean,
Listen,
Yeah,
she's
you gotta
stronger this year than she
right.
was last year, physically. She just is. So, I don't think there's any ceiling for her or any of the girls, but her specifically. I think if she just controls what she's able to do, swinging at good pitches, all that will fall into place for her. She's a very strong.
I feel like once she kind of gets her rhythm down, especially like in the power department,
Sure.
once she gets her rhythm down, I feel like you can see everything. That was kind of like a catalyst for you guys last year. Like she would hit one out, and next it's like 4 straight home runs, back to back to back. I'm sitting there like,
No
okay.
Well, and Taylor Jennings is
Right.
someone we don't talk about enough, in my opinion. I mean, she's a kid that's our leadoff, and she really should probably be in our 4 or 5 on a typical team roster because she's so powerful. I mean, did you see her line drive home run
Oh, yeah.
yesterday? When she hits them, they're lasers. She's just so strong. But I have the confidence in her getting on, and then we also have power behind her.
Right.
But that's another kid that I'll tell you what, she is so dang strong. And during our BP, she's hitting 10 out a day, and it looks easy on for her.
Yeah.
I think having her, I'm seriously seeing her like lead up because you lead up here last year
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
The power is something that I haven't seen too much of. Not that I'm saying it's not there,
No,
Right.
sure.
but I haven't seen too much of it. And so to see her hit that missile of a home run, I'm just like, oh, okay, we're doing this.
Sure.
And a day with Jules, on vacation, priorities, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting watching you guys this year and kind of comparing the two because I'm fortunate enough to see what it looked like at a high, right? Okay, this is what it looks like. Seeing, okay, how much higher can it go? And seeing it now it's almost like adjusting itself. Where, the power, not saying the power isn't there, but it hasn't shown itself yet. Right? Whereas the pitching is kind of minus like one bad inning.
It's the beauty of
which
it.
is kind of right, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's the beauty of the game.
Cindy, you brought up one point where you mentioned like the girls going into women. Obviously, Women's History Month. The women's sports has really kind of, you and I talk about this a lot. Women's sports has really kind of increased its spotlight over the last several years. I'm just kind of curious, like, what your guys' thoughts on just seeing women's sports, let alone softball, kind of grow the way it has these last several years. So now it is like in the mainstream. There is a spotlight on it. People, 2 million watched the women's college world series last year. Just your thoughts on y'all thoughts on the growth of all of this.
Well, let me ask you a question, Jeff. Would you rather watch a baseball game or a softball game?
I'd rather be napping. I don't know.
So it's a much faster game, right?
No, it is.
And it's exciting and it goes quick and we don't have the base paths like baseball, so we don't have as much time to get the balls. And so I think that's what made this sport come to light as well. But a lot of legends like Patty Gasso and Carol Hutchins, people who have been the spotlight for this sport have really brought it to light. And OU doing what they're doing, I mean, it's amazing to see, and it's great for female athletes. But it's an exciting sport to watch. How can you not, So you turn on the TV now, and today, I mean, games start at 11 o'clock today, and they're all over ESPN. And it's really cool to see, and especially looking back to when she played, going to the World Series 3 out of her 4 years. You got to go find them on VHS, right? So it's like...
They were in color.
They were in
color. The ball was yellow still.
The girls always make
I like the way you're going at, and she, it's in VHS. So VHS for these things.
Oh my They're like this big.
Yeah.
I had to explain to my players.
Giant cassette tape.
I once had to explain to my players what a VHS tape was. And I probably like left Logan to so breathe. And I'm like, okay, hold on a second.
Funny.
I don't even know if they know what tapes are. Do they know what cassette tapes are?
Oh, good.
But it's grown so much, right?
Right.
It's exciting to see. I mean, even yesterday, at a high school softball game, we brought an additional set of bleachers down last year for NCS.
Right.
And it stayed there. And game after game.
We're talking about on that first base side,
on the varsity side, third base side.
Third base side, okay.
Third base side, yeah. We brought an additional set of bleachers down, and it's standing room only. It's amazing to see. I mean, yesterday you walk in, I mean, it's hard to navigate to the dugout because there's just so many people. And it's amazing the community support that we're getting. And you're seeing that across the board. You're seeing it across the board. I mean, there's staple teams, like I said, OU. And it's great for the sport. It's great for female athletes, for sure.
Your thoughts on just like overall female sports kind of getting the spotlight in general? I mean, even when you played, it wasn't the same, right, compared to now.
Oh.
Just your thoughts on just kind of seeing the growth of it, and just kind of seeing women's sports kind of be on the same level, if not just about on the same level as men's sports.
Well, I think there's so much more respect for women's sports right now, and seeing them as true athletes. I mean, they put in so much work and the training, and I mean, they're so athletic and they're fun to watch. And I don't know about women's basketball, 20 years ago, but it just wasn't as fun to watch as it is today. I mean, you see Caitlin Clark out there putting up threes. I mean, so much has transpired, and I think that's because of the training and the work and the passion that these girls have. But there's so many different sports that are just so much fun to watch. And even as a female, they weren't as fun to watch before. I'm just being honest. And now I can't wait to turn it on. And not that I'm just supporting women, but it is actually exciting. And so it's a blessing. It's a blessing.
It's exciting to see them have the same opportunities.
I was going to say, what's it like coaching high school girls now to have like greater opportunities compared to maybe even 10 years ago?
Well, yeah,
it gives them goals, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it gives them something to work towards, where before you were kind of like, okay, got 4 years, that's it. Like, it doesn't give you that desire to want to work hard towards something if there's nothing after it, right? And so now that they have the opportunity for the NLI and all of that, it gives you a goal. It gives you something to look after and to try to go get, So I think that's probably the difference, is there's something there.
And I'm also hearing a lot of the girls are thinking of coaching at the collegiate level. And those are now careers. I mean, where before you weren't paid very much, or you were just a GA, a grad assistant. Now these are careers. I mean, and they're taken care of. And So there's just so much more opportunity, and that's just going to continue to grow with what we're seeing out there today. So a lot of opportunity for these hardworking women.
Awesome. This has been fun.
Thank you.
It's always fun, you guys.
I know.
Appreciate
I know.
it. Thank you.
You make it easy.
Fun, yes.
Appreciate you guys.
Jeff, I mean, thank you for supporting us.
Oh,
and
thank
the
you.
community, thank you for supporting Liberty
Absolutely.
Softball. We couldn't do what we're doing without you.
Thank you for not kicking me off the field.
Oh, never.
That is my.
You're
I think the
always-
That's
girls
right.
are more disappointed when you don't show up.
Yeah, a lot of
You know,
pressure there.
I get a lot of the opposite when for some games. I was like, "You're here."
Oh,
Like,
stop.
listen.
Stop. But
Brandi
thank you for
Macias.
seeing what they are, and honestly.
Appreciate it. No,
Yeah,
thank
you're
you
welcome.
guys.
Thank you
Brandi,
for having me.
Cindy Macias, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the Press Talk Sports Live. Each and every week, we place a spotlight on local sports here in the Brentwood and Oakley area. Just a reminder, this podcast is brought to you by the Brentwood Press. For as low as $20 a year, you too can get a subscription to the Brentwood Press. Go to thepress.net and click on subscribe in the upper right-hand corner for more information. For the great Brandi and Cindy Macias, for the all-American legend Brandi Macias and Cindy Macias of Liberty Softball, I am Jeff Weisinger. Thank you so much for joining us, and as always, take care of one another. We will catch you soon.